Welcome, everybody. I am so thrilled to have Kari Warburg Block. Wow. On with me today, CEO of Earthkind, but more importantly, a wonderful friend. And I have been lucky enough to see just the last few years, but over the last decade, the growth that you've had with Earthkind, and from something that was just an invented idea, something that had never been a part of the market before. Who would have thought of plant-based rodent repellents, and I'm sure even more beyond rodent repellents, just plant-based ways to save everything from mice to rats and the things that you would think everyone would want to kill. You went out there and said, I'm going to save this and do it in a way that helps the environment. And over the next 30 minutes, we're going to cover with Kari. She's going to give us some of the great information about how she's been able to grow 40% year over year for the last decade. If you're not giving her a round of applause, she deserves it. It's amazing what you've been able to do, Kari. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
Here is your dose of the Ultimate Sales Machine, coming to you from the new edition. Visit ultimatesalesmachine.com to get your copy or multiple copies. I am your host, Amanda Holmes, CEO of Chet Holmes International. What you're about to learn has assisted 250,000 businesses to generate billions of dollars, working faster, better, smarter.
I'm so excited to share today. I worked with your father, and I credit so much of the success to the strategies that I learned. It goes to show you, with especially, I think people will understand after this interview a few things they can watch out for, because I'm going to get very transparent and share some things that I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars doing when I went off strategy, having second guessing myself. And I think I'm a really great example too, to prove that there is a market for anything. And a person really doesn't need any more than a purpose and a really good strategy to make something happen. In our case, you're right. I've never thought of a plant-based pest repellent. God forbid I didn't grow up thinking I wanted to go into this. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't fun. But here's the thing. There was a market need, and that's when an entrepreneur can step up.
Yes. Can you share with everybody quickly a bit of, you were a farmer in North Dakota. You were tilling the land and making your crop. Can you share about how you went from that to then discovering this idea?
Sure. I was living in a very remote, quiet corner of the world, Western North Dakota, and basically the Durham Triangle, where the best pasta in the world is growing. We had about 1,100 acres. We grew corn and wheat and oats and barley and canola. And because of that, we also had rodents getting into our tractors and combines and trucks and what have you. And it's just a fact of life on a farm, because rodents are man's number one competitor for resources on the planet. Most people don't know that, but they are. So wherever there's food, there's going to be rodents, and there's other pests too that are communal with us in that way. But we had problems with mice getting into our tractor cabs and do damage, and we couldn't afford it. And it was my job to keep these tractor cabs clean. And I was at my wit's end. It was extremely painful. And I'm like, how could this be happening? But in the same respect, there was nothing out there that was safe to use around my kids and my pets, and safe to use for wildlife, anything that I could afford. And yeah, I put my imagination to work as I'm going around the fields going, there has got to be a better way. There has got to be a better way. And I ended up coming up with one, patenting it, bringing it to market as the first federal registered by EPA product to be sold on the market. And here we are, tens of hundreds of millions of dollars later, after all these years, we've commercialized it and changed the market. It was 98% kill and poison when we entered it. And now today it's 88%. So that means it's no longer a trend. That means that people are now becoming aware that, hey, there is a better way.
Wow. It's amazing what you've done. And for those that are live too, this is a conversation. So I'm watching the comments. If you want to say hello or have some comments for Kari, let's bring you into the fold as well. Can you share a bit about the commitment that you had to this mission? Because when people are trying to figure out how to run their Dream 100 or how to build a big company and push out their mission or their ideas, you have to be committed. There is that pig-headed discipline and determination. What did you do at the very beginning? Because I love this story.
Yeah, for you dreamers and doers out there, congratulations, because entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. Sometimes there is very gut-wrenching decisions you have to make that leap of faith. How far do you really want to take this? And for me, I started out because I had a purpose. I thought, well, it's fundamentally wrong that we don't have a way to control pests without having to lure them in, trap them, kill them, dispose of them, harm the environment, risk harming wildlife. And I called every company out there, and they all said, oh, for God's sakes, lady, nobody cares. And I went, okay, somebody has to care. And that really what it did is it shifted the context of the conversation. It wasn't so much about I can, it became more of a question of how do I make this happen? And so how did I make it happen? I didn't have a college degree. I didn't have experience in the industry. I really didn't know anything about manufacturing. I didn't know anything about product development other than when I started mixing my own formulations of herbs and health stuff when I was a little kid. So it was like, how do I make this happen? So I basically sold everything that I had a couple times. The first time it was my pack horse, which was my pride and joy. And I'd go riding in the mountains and with this beautiful, amazing horse. And then I sold my camper, which was my other favorite hobby. And I used that money to do some initial research. I applied for grants. Fortunately, I got an egg diversification grant from the USDA for farmers that are struggling, because in Western North Dakota, we were struggling. And that $5,000, what I did is I got a computer and I got samples and I took it around to the implement dealers that would be your John Deere dealerships and your Case IH. And I had this invention and I said, try this. If it works, you call me back. And then within a year, I had a distributor. And so I had cash flow that I could continue to, and I started other businesses to actually make this business work. So I sold garden produce and or organic produce and all kinds of things. But yeah, I was pretty deeply committed. Yeah, the second time around when I knew, okay, we were market tested, things were going good. Then the EPA came in and said, no, you can't do this without an EPA registration. And I was like, you're kidding me. This is like natural. What are you talking about? You let the poisons and the kill methods that can like kill a child, you're gonna, yeah, absolutely. And so how that came about, and this is a funny story, and entrepreneurs go through this, you have a successful moment and the media shows up, and it was 20 below in North Dakota, and there was 2 blocks down the street of people waiting to buy my product because they'd heard about it. And they're like, I need something that keeps mice out of my tractor cabs.
Wow.
And they had farm dogs, and it made sense to them. So these companies on one hand said, this isn't, nobody cares. And I saw something, I'm like, people care. So that really gave me the fuel. And then I got the call from the EPA and they said, you can't do this. And then they said, it's probably going to be a couple $1 million to get this done. And it's probably not going to happen. And you're probably way out of your league here, honey.
Wow.
And then that all that did was fuel me more. And I'm like, everything at my disposal to figure this one out. And so I made allies with them. I gathered around the table with my public officials, and I gathered around the table with the universities. And I asked for these meetings, and I'm sure they were seeing me as a farm wife from Western North Dakota. And they're like, well, let's try and support this girl, not thinking I was really maybe going to make it, and they all helped. And I wrote a book about it, but we can talk more at the end. But even starting with nothing, I just found the right people that would believe in that vision and help me make that vision come true.
Yeah.
As we got some momentum and got the EPA registration, that's when I needed to make another deep investment. So that one included a marriage and selling my house. Yeah, stuff. But my farmer husband at the time said, honey, more power to you, but that is not my path in life. That
Wow.
is not the end of the road is here for us. I hope you can understand. And he bought me a beautiful winter coat and he bought me a suitcase. And he said, let's not get a lawyer. I'll support you. Anything that you need, I'll help you get this house and whatever. And yeah, it didn't take long. I sold that house and plowed it back into consulting with your father. And of course, my kids are like, oh my gosh, mother, what are you doing? And sometimes there's just things it's like I identify with the strategy. I identify with what we're doing. And plus, I had faith in my purpose and myself. And I knew that the universe, God, what have you, was not going to let me down because it had taken me all the way to that point, right? As far as losing everything, I wasn't so concerned about that because I lost everything. I don't know how many times, including my own life once. I died for 3 minutes and no big angel moments, but it just really gives you validation that we have a lot more power than we think we do just by taking a step.
Wow. I just love your story. It's so wonderful. So talk me through a bit of you decided to do this Dream 100. You wanted to go after retailers. Did you know that you wanted to go after Lowe's and Home Depot and these retailers?
Yeah, what started out, Amanda, was I knew this was an invention that needed to happen because I proved scientifically that it was highly effective and that you could actually affect the behavior of a pest coming into an area by the invention that I'd made, which was basically plant-based and using essential oils and plants in a unique process. So I knew that the product worked. I had 100% satisfaction in that. So then the next step became, who is going to buy this product?
Yeah.
And that's how I started my Dream 100. And I created like a 10-year Dream 100 plan.
Did you really?
Yes. And I've still stayed to it all these years later. I stayed to it. What I did is I listed all the retailers and there's 145,000 in the US. And then I categorized them into different channels. So I knew our stuff would be great with farmers because I had the problem, they had the problem. And I knew it would be good with people with RVs and boats and campers. And I knew it would work with government, people storing things like state parks and that. And I knew it would be like for hardware, farm and home stores. I knew there'd be all these different niches that we could go into. So then I ranked them from there. And I ranked them according to those that I thought would have the least barrier to entry.
Okay.
And then I started going through the Dream 100 plan, and I love it. And I took some notes here so I don't leave anything out.
Yeah.
Started with, I said, okay, I have no money, right? It was like I had to go in cash flow. I'm going to start in my backyard. So I started with the local John Deere dealership.
Okay.
And then I had asked for a referral, and then we got all of them in the state. And then we got all of them in a region, and pretty soon we got all of them in the country. And then I did the same thing with Tractor Supply, which today is one of our top 5 accounts, and they are on fire. They're one of the best performing retailers out there.
Wow.
And so they started putting our product in these big bins in the front because it says farm woman owned. And so I used the process to do this. And people would say, oh, you're so genius, you're a genius marketer and all of this. But really, there's some fundamental things. So I'll share my notes now.
Yeah.
So I picked the Dream 100 and I was like, okay, who could sell the most? Who would be the easiest to get into? And then it was who best aligns with us. purpose. Our products came from agricultural ingredients, which was very different. So I thought definitely those that support agriculture, support purpose-driven business, a woman-owned business, because at this time, it was not cool to be a woman. And they'd go, oh, okay, cutesy. And then they'd look at the rep and they'd say, come on in here, sir. And my reps would say, no, she's the boss. And they'd be like, what? It was totally a foreign thing for them. But after I picked those Dream 100, then the next step was to choose a gift. And that is, how are we going to really get their attention? And so I was like, what kind of a gift do you give? And I tried different things. And really how we started was similar to what we do today. As I took out these little 2x2 ads in newspapers across the entire country.
Okay.
It's almost like remnant space. You could get it for
Nice.
$25, $100. And I said, got mice? Farm wife invents a solution that's 100% guaranteed and good for the environment and your farm. And then I put on there, ask your local ACE store, ask your local Tractor Supply for this product. So all of a sudden they had these people coming in by the hundreds going, I want to buy this.
They didn't have, and they hadn't supplied it yet. Oh,
no,
so
so then
good.
they started calling us. So I didn't actually need a sales force because of this. We didn't need a sales force until just in the last couple of years, actually. And I've got some real horror stories about onboarding the sales force, but that's how we did it. And it also helped us become number one in the category as far as share of voice in the pest industry. So people came to see us as the expert because then I would help them solve these problems. Okay, you need this and this, and you can get these things at your local hardware store. So people would walk in with their list, and these retailers are like, let's put her stuff up here in the front because she's referring people to us, and they're buying caulking, and they're buying door sweeps, and they're buying steel wall and all these other things. So that was our gift. And I'll share with you what we did during the week because it was a little bit. And then there was these creating the Dream 100 letters. So what I thought of that is who are those champions? And I made media into that. So I would pitch to the media with a core story, which is something I learned from your father. And they loved it because I could give them an entire script and all I'd have to do is show up and their whole entire segment was done. I got one with it, probably my favorite one. And if your dad was still alive, he'd talk about it. It was Fox News, Fox 9 in Minneapolis. And it just by chance happened to hit where this lady was 9 months pregnant, ready to deliver any minute. And she had 4 spots to fill that week. And I called her and I said, I have something that you might be interested in because right now across the city, 50% of everybody in the city is probably getting invaded by a rodent. 8% of those, their house might burn down because rodents chew on wires.
Market data.
Yeah. And she said, you're kidding me. What? Oh my gosh. And she goes, can you come down in the morning? She goes, but I have a doctor's appointment. Where do you want? I said, tell you what, let's do the first set in Fratelloni's hardware. I'll show up, get your cameraman. You don't even need to be there. So I got the retailer, which was pulling us back to choosing the gift.
Yeah.
So people would see the retailer and go, oh, that's where they buy that stuff. So that retailer was super busy. But I brought in a few extra cases. I said, when this airs, you're going to have more people coming in. And so she was excited. She shared it with all the other ACE merchants and said, you know what, this business is so awesome to deal with. And still today, we just had our line review last week. We still sit in the #1 spot on their planogram, right there. And we still have incredible growth. We break the turns actually, because we sell more than they can efficiently do. But really this whole power of branding came with it. With this checklist I followed, and I didn't even realize it until later. Yeah. And for me, thinking about being the expert, that's where the media really came in because they needed good stories to educate. And I wasn't selling my product, I was educating. But then when you go to the media, exactly, they give you the credit because that's just how it works. In the end, they'll say, and by the way, we tried this, we love this product. Sometimes they'll throw in another one, but then they'll pass you on. If you're a really good interview, they will pass you on
Wow.
to others. So that just paid back more than ever, but it helped us get the trust and it helped us get the respect and it helped us grow that market share too, which was really important for the retailers and kept us in a hiring. And the fourth step is creating a calendar. And this is so important because you can't ever let off the gas.
You. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so many people think you can like, okay, hey, I got a bunch of press and I'm gonna stop on it, right? Or I
Yeah.
got that big customer and I'm gonna stop. So what we do is we have a line review schedule that goes out an entire year or maybe more by category. And we know when they want us to be talking to the companies. And we'll start 3 months ahead of time. It's meticulous, it's pig-headed discipline. And then
Yeah.
we say, okay, how are we going to pepper them? What is that gift? And you'll see those if you follow our media. You probably recognize it, the stories or the blogs that I write. And so there's a cadence to this of getting out and it actually supports those customers and helps them know, hey, they're a partner for us because it used to be just us. Now there's dozens of new people coming in doing similar
Wow.
things to us. And it's exciting because that's how I know change is happening, right?
Mhm.
It makes us all better. And then the fifth step is the follow-up phone calls. And your dad taught something in the book. I got to share this with anybody because this book,
Yay.
one of the hardest things is getting people on the phone. And I think it's even harder now, but there is a process you can learn. And I literally have gotten anybody on the phone that I wanted. I got up all the way to the top with Terminex, thinking, hey, we could work together. They weren't ready yet in the structural pest industry for what we had, but now it's getting close. But I literally can get anybody on the phone with what I learned. So it's really important, and we can't forget the importance of follow-up phone calls and connection. So many people, and I watch the competitors do it that are coming in. They're like cooperator competitors. I call them neighbors, not necessarily competitors, because we're all in this ecosystem together. But it's funny how they'll ignore those little things, that connection. Nothing can take the place of true human connection because it's reciprocal. Every time you give them something, they'll give you something. My favorite questions to ask, and I still do it, and people say, you're a CEO, really? Do you want to be doing this? But yeah, I sit down with my key customers once a year and I ask them two questions. The first question is, what don't I know that I need to know? And you look them in the eyes and you don't back off. And it's amazing. Yes. And it's amazing because that I'm telling you connects. It connects because it just does. It's how us humans are wired, especially in business. We have to be competitive. We have to, and they know we are in it. There you go. They know we are in it for the long run. And I guarantee you, they never forget it because they're like, you ask such good questions. But I find out it's golden what you find out, as long as your ego doesn't get in the way.
Oh, always the best process to try to let the ego get out of the way. Okay.
And then the second question is, if there was one thing we could do better for you, what is it?
That's great too.
And oftentimes they'll pull their groups, pull their groups. And that's another thing about the power of gathering. And it's so incredibly important to set the intent, not to muddy it up with 10 million objectives. It just gets to the heart of the matter. And then the last thing is the executive briefings. And This is something that we do, and I'm teaching my people to do, and it's cool, is we'll go into our customers and we'll give them a report, just like if they were our board of directors.
Wow.
And this has gotten me invited into their boardrooms, actually. And I've been able to bring my people. We have one handicapped worker, we call her handy capable. And she was invited with me to Lowe's headquarters. 200 merchants, $8 billion of business. She got up on the stage with me and she thanked them for the business and she told them what her job means to her. It changed, it literally, I got emails later that it literally changed their culture because they saw something from a different perspective.
Wow.
And so this shifting the context with people and being really strategic about it, that's where the idea for that came from, is doing executive briefing. So then I can go to Target or I can go to John Deere, whoever we do business with, and say, here's the state of the market. And it's all core story.
I know. Sorry, I just have to interject for every person that's listening to this right now and will be as they go through the Dream 100 course. You are an expert strategist. This is the difference between, okay, I'm going to write an email because I got a script, and we have templates and we have scripts, and that's wonderful. But a tactician can only get so far. A strategist will always over accomplish a tactician. And every single thing you've told me in this interview has just shown that you approach it from a strategic point of view. It's mission driven. It's not just how do I get the sale? It's multiple different objectives. How do I have the best relationship possible? How do I set myself up as the number one expert in the market? How do I understand not just my product, but what's going on in the environment right now and with my clientele, even with the 50% that probably have a rodent repellent problem right now, or a rodent problem. It's just that you are just such a shining example of a strategist. So thank you. This has been my big takeaway from us so far. I hope you have do you have a few more minutes above the 30 minutes? Because I do want to also cover your lessons learned deterring from your way. Do you have a few minutes?
Oh, absolutely. That could be so valuable to people listening because it was so painful to me.
Yes. Yeah.
Tough lessons learned.
Yes, I'm sorry I did cut you off. You were in the midst of a thing. I just had to get that out. You were talking about the executive briefings and being strategic. So give me an idea of kind of what that is. That just talking about market trends? Is that what you're doing when you say executive briefing?
So in an executive briefing, I like to think of it as like a health report. You're going to go to the doctor. Okay, here's your pulse, right? Here's your vitals. Here's some things you might want to do for preventive behavior, right? So this is something that I like to have my employees involved in so they know the health of our customers. They can bring their own ideas to table. Like during COVID, it was amazing. Some of the most valuable conversations I've had in my life have been with our people, our employees. They can be on the line. It doesn't matter where, and they'll see something just a little bit differently and they deeply care. So we can bring that to our customers, and that is a competitive advantage for them. And it doesn't just come from reading a Harvard article.
Oh, it's core story through and through. I love it.
So that's where I was at on that. So we go out and do that with all our customers. They learn a lot from it, and they learn to see us as that expert. And they're like, oh, I had no idea. And they're freaked out when I tell them 70% of people don't want to kill a pest. They would rather just avoid it.
Wow. That is so good.
What every other company tells me. I was like, you're free to keep your own mind. One of the things I learned that was pivotal was I started to ask my merchants, because they were all males and I'm a female, right? It's changing now because they're younger, they're millennials, and there's a lot more females in it. But I'd say, take this home to your wife and your children and ask them what they think. That's the future. Many of them reported back and they said, no one ever said to do that. And man, they have such a different perspective. I thank you so much for that.
Wow. And everybody that's listening to can also understand that Kari isn't just talking about her product and saying, these are all the features of my product, and look at this product and that product. She is giving advice that's the concerns that they have in their business, in their livelihood, like you said, their health. That's just crucial. I think that's a place where people hear it and then they go, I get it. But then in the actual deployment of it, or the trying to do it, they miss out in the execution. So
yeah, and
really
this perfectly brings us in to the mistakes I've made with regard to veering off, because as the business started to grow and we started to scale, Kari could not do it all anymore. And we got an investor, and he knew a recruiter, people that was specialized in salespeople who were in CPG. Okay, this comes with some pretty high price tags, and it can cost as much as 70, 100,000 per person, not to mention the salary and everything else you need. And so we did, I can't even, I'm embarrassed to even say how many hundreds of thousands of dollars I put into this. It was, so we do the interviews, get down to it, amazing human beings, right? Then they came into the company and they're like, you know what, you have to trust me on this because I know what makes it work. I have these relationships, and I gave them some leeway rather than aligning them and training them in what had made us successful. And I don't know if I was taking a shortcut or what it was, Amanda, but it was a miserable failure, right? And then all of a sudden, for the first time since 2007, our sales were not like this. Right? And it's so interesting because my employees around said, why can't they do this job? Oh my God, they're like a professional, right? But the way you sell strategically.
Yes, that's it. You were selling using core story, education-based marketing. You were doing a strategist versus now you have a tactician that says, I'm in the good old boy club. I have these relationships. I can sell them relationships. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Plamen and Hugh also are loving this too. They're saying hi.
Okay. And it's something I really beat myself up on. And because you don't bring an investor on and then make big mistakes like that. And then, you know, to be able to pick back up, thankfully we picked back up and got back on it and got back onto strategy. But it was my own employees who said, I could do this. It's like they've never been in sales before, but they're like, I've watched you do it. I helped you get the presentations ready. I've heard you go head to head in these rooms with them because I will if I need to, and it works. So we got back to that, and all of a sudden you didn't need to have an experience in sales to be an incredible salesperson. It more became about
I got chills.
Yeah, strategy and caring. And I can't even tell you from how it feels as a CEO to see somebody go from a 12 or 15 an hour position up to buying a home and buying a car, going on trips. And it's worth everything in the world to be able to lift people up like that because of using a good process and a good strategy and giving the customers what they need. And I think going forward, we're going to see so much more of that. Another thing I should share is what we did when the COVID started.
Yes. So you have complete market blackout, right? You're in retailers all over the place and they have just shut down. How do you reply to that? What do you do?
Yes, pretty scary, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, part of what I do as a strategic leader is I handle transition and crisis very well. And so you make a plan and you stick to it.
I think I was at your house when this was just starting to roll out. I stayed with you and you were cool, calm, and collected, I have to say. Yeah. Okay.
Sleep too, right? Yeah. Because it's just like, yeah, there's no negative energy around it. And with the employees too, we even had a professional come in because I was like, I need to get the pulse of everybody and see if people have fear, what anxiety, because people were just going off the deep end. And said we've never seen a company before that didn't have fear inside of it. But what it is, I got everybody together and I said, okay, we need everybody's head in the game on this one, every single person. And I said, I can't tell you what's going to happen because we don't know. But I can tell you that the answers will come to us. And they always do, and they always have, and they always will. And it was amazing how the people bloomed during this time. It was just brings tears to my eyes. But when
I'm tearing up. Oh.
and the power of asking your people is so important. I just turned off everything else and I said, you know what? It's in here. The answers are inside of us. And I made all the quick decisions that I needed to. We got a COVID task force. We looked at our Dream 100 and says, okay, what is our Dream 100 over the next 3 months? And then we did the next 3 months and the next 3 months. So we came out with, we did a trade show in a box.
Wow.
Old-fashioned suitcase. This is the fields in North Dakota. We're all protection. This is me standing in a field across from my house in North Dakota. We sent a video on a flash and then emailed them a video, which was me talking. It was like a minute long. Told them we're sending them our trade show, bringing it to them. And then we had like our whole pitch right here.
Wow.
Their products.
Oh, beautiful.
Most important to them is #1 rated because everybody, what their fear was, what's Amazon going to do to us? Are we going to be out of business? Everybody's going online. So what we did is we made little stickers of all of our reviews so people could see that, hey, we are getting reviews. And then we created a report for them and said, oh, by the way, this is how much web traffic we get each week or each month. And it's staggering how much people come to our website because of the expert content, which we built up over 15 years. And so this SEO gives us, people pay a lot of money to get that. We're not having to pay really that much. But what we did is created a customized report and said, this is how many people in your area are looking for our product. We're sending them to you if your stores are open. And we created a plan like that. And they were like, gave them a sense of, oh my gosh, maybe we're in this together.
Wow.
And because a lot of them didn't know how to do all of the online stuff. And we said, tell you what, we will email you, created a Dropbox. Here's some posts that you can use. Here's the latest. Oh, by the way, if during COVID, we could say things like, we've never had our pantries overloaded like this. That's why you have so many mice coming in. We have the perfect solution. In fact, it's the only solution out there that is perfect for this. And we did the same thing with moths, and we did the same thing with spiders. And so that accelerated us so much that we even got more like on shelf space. One major retailer gave us 3 more facings in all stores. Just for that. But the demand was so high. And then I pulled back on utilizing, we went to Martha Stewart and we went to Better Homes and Gardens, and they know me already as an expert and quote me often. And we said, hey, this is a big problem right now. We will write content and help people face some of this because pests are coming in at an all-time record. And so it really helped us. Plus it created more in the category 2 for other things and for other products.
Wow.
Yeah. In a nutshell, that's what we did. And we ended up finishing up, I think, about 33% up year over year, which we are so thankful and grateful. And we were like so celebratory over it because
it's amazing. Amazing.
And we were in the cloud, so we were able to work from home, and we didn't have to spend 2 months figuring all that out. We could just jump right into how do we do our Dream 100, COVID Dream 100.
It's also a really important point that you said, because so many CEOs think that they need to have all the answers. What a hard hitting, it just hit me right in my chest of this concept of you saying, I don't have the answers. Let's come up with them together. Everyone on board, everyone is a part of this. That is something that every CEO can learn from you, is how do I get more people to be invested? And they will come up with great ideas, and bringing everyone together will create an even better solution. So that really meant a lot when I heard you say that. And Dawn too is saying you're both inspiring and awesome ladies. So you're getting some love over here on social, but wow. It's just such a powerful story, and continue to be so many wonderful stories. So I know that you have different social media channels. Where do you spend your time so that people can find you? What do you normally recommend?
On social media, you mean online?
Yeah.
So I spend most of my time on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
But you can also see me on Instagram. I do a little bit on Facebook, but I've got a book launch going on right now. My book called Gathering Around the Table, a story of purpose-driven change through business. This book is the book that I needed when I was 19 and started my first business. I started 6 of them. And actually what it is, it's like a kind of a decision-making book, because it takes the reader through the stories of how the decisions were made based on my values. It walks people through when I said no to Walmart and why, and basically how to create a strategy around a purpose. So there's a lot woven in there, that I learned.
Yes. Where do we find that book? You said it's pre-selling right now, right?
It's pre-sale. I have a website called kariwarburgblock.com.
Okay.
And we have a book page on that. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's published by Conscious Capitalism Press. So it will be used in universities, because currently our business case this year, it was used in the McGraw-Hill 101 entrepreneurship book. We were, I think, chapter 6 or 9. Pretty amazing, right? Elon Musk is in there.
Wow.
My girlfriend Kara from Hint Water is in there. And it's interesting, but we won a global entrepreneurship case study a few years ago called Building a Business from Nature. And there's a shortage of women-owned businesses, and a shortage of those that started from nothing, because I didn't come from money and I didn't come from a family, so to speak. Just had this love for nature, and we just all coexist.
Wow, that is wonderful. So everybody heard that. It's kariwarburgblock.com. You'll see her name as well, and if you need spelling exactly. And I think you've sent me, I swear I've read little bits and pieces of this as you've been writing it, haven't I? It's what a wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
The title. Yeah, it's quite a deal writing a book.
Oh, you're telling me. I've been working on the new edition for 2 years of the Ultimate Sales Machine. My goodness. But I've realized it took my father 50 years to write that book. So if it takes me 2, maybe even 3, it's worth it.
Not bad. What is it? The number 1 sales book of all time?
It's voted in the top 10. It's good. Yeah.
It's okay that you take some time.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. So Kari, I love you. I could talk to you for hours. It's so inspiring. And I'm sure every single person that's heard this, I also see Mark saying, wow, absolutely brilliant. He wrote a whole paragraph on how amazing this has been. And for every person that will continue to go through this as they're in the Dream 100 course, I am just so grateful for your time here. Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
Make sure to get your copy or copies at theultimatesalesmachine.com. There's a lot of special bonuses that you can't get going to Amazon, so make sure you check it out at ultimatesalesmachine.com.